Hey everyone, and welcome to our Let's Max Warframe, taking a look at a weapon that's actually kind of underrated now. And that is one I previously called the worst weapon in the game, and that is the Prova Vandal. Introduced into the game an extremely long time ago now in the Gradivus event, the Prova Vandal has been widely regarded as the worst weapon in the game, a bit of a joke weapon, the literal definition of mastery fodder. However, as time has gone on and the game has evolved, has the Prova Vandal done enough to elevate it from awful to usable? Well, its base damage of 48 pure electricity, that's the highest out of all the machetes, and with it being pure electricity, it's going to combine very well into both corrosive and radiation, two fantastic damage types, giving it some really good damage capability against armoured units. Its lack of critical chance though, just 5% and only a 150% damage multiplier, means that building the Vandal for crit really isn't going to be viable at all. Although with a 20% status chance, you're going to be able to make condition overload builds work pretty nicely. Just a shame you can't combine crit alongside that condition overload. It does hurt its top end performance a little bit. It doesn't really have anything else that particularly stands out from the rest, to be honest, other than the fact that on ground slams it's got a guaranteed electricity proc in an area around you, so utilising stances with slams in them can really help with some crowd control. But also their guaranteed electricity proc can help towards boosting the damage from your condition overload. In terms of stance, you've got a choice of two, Sundering Weave and Cyclone Kraken. Cyclone Kraken is by far leagues ahead of Sundering Weave, and it's the one I use on my Prova Vandal. Every combo has damage multipliers on it. Everything except the spam E combo has guaranteed procs too. It's incredible and super helpful for buffing condition overload. My favourite combo by quite a way is the right click hold combo of Lightning Siren. It's very easy to pull off, it's got a whole bunch of damage multipliers in there, plus 2 guaranteed impact procs and a slash proc, which are especially useful on the Vandal because it doesn't have any impact, puncture or slash, and that really helps with boosting the damage output of condition overload. In terms of the build I'm actually using on the Vandal, it's a very standard status condition overload build. We had a single format to the build. I've got 3 on here because it's a very old weapon and I've played around with a whole bunch of builds over the years. I've got Prime Pressure Point, Prime Fury, Condition Overload, 3 dual stats of your choice, and then Drifting Contact for status as well as the combo duration, and then Weeping Wounds. Elemental combos are really going to be useful here for getting your condition overload running. Gas works very nicely, especially on the Corpus. Plus Blast, because Blast counts as 2 procs instead of 1. I usually go for Corrosive and Heat, and then rely on the Electric proc from Ground Slam to give a little bit of extra condition overload damage goodness. Weeping Wounds stacks very quickly, and you'll hit 100% status at only a 1.5 times combo multiplier. So you're going to be stripping the armor on almost every single hit, or proccing gas, or whatever you're going to be using in terms of your elementals. And it takes that pesky RNG of will I proc status, will I not proc status, it just takes that out of the equation entirely. You could always do something else with that mod slot. You could run a 90% elemental mod for more straight up damage, or even Life Strike if you want something to help regain some health. In the footage you can actually see I'm running the Life Strike build. I often do that on something squishy if I've got room like I do on the Vandal. Although for frames that have other methods of healing or are way tankier, I usually go with more damage. So what do I think of the Prova Vandal now? Has it done enough to shake off that title of worst melee weapon in the game? You know what, I started this off by saying it's underrated now, and honestly, I stick by that. Every time someone would ask me about the Vandal in the past, I would tell people to avoid it like the plague. Honestly, I've even said that in the Baro videos where he brings it. I've called it mastery fodder of the highest order. It's amazing what time plus the introduction of not only a good mod as condition overload is, also when you combine that with a stance that just doesn't straight up suck. I wouldn't go so far as to say I like the Vandal now. It's not a weapon that I personally like that much. I do find it kind of visually pretty uninspiring. It's quite boring, to be honest. I mean, it is just a big stick. And the thunk that it makes when it hits enemies is not really that satisfying. Honestly, I find it gets annoying quite quickly. But that shouldn't take away from the fact that the Vandal is sortie worthy now. You can see in the footage in the background now, that's me taking down level 100 Corrupt Heavy Gunners pretty reasonably. And that's from a standing start too, there's no combo multiplier when I actually land in that first hit. So it really isn't horrendous anymore. And it could be used to just run just about any content that you want. Gas Electric build works fantastically well against the Corpus as well. Stacking gas proc on top of gas proc, stunning with electricity. It's very handy. So, a terrible stance can lead to an entire class of weapons being utterly terrible. Cough, cough, dual daggers. and nothing shows that better than the Cyclone Kraken. Yes, it's a super rare drop, it is hard to get hold of, but once you do, it transforms the machetes from a class of weapons that you would never dream of using in a million years into one that's actually surprisingly competitive. I'd recommend giving the Prova Vandal another shot if you have the stance for it. You might just be surprised by it. I know that I was. So, I hope you enjoyed my look at the Prova Vandal, finally. Hopefully I have a ton of Plains of Eidolon content coming for you this week on both Twitch and YouTube, so stay tuned for that, and as always, I shall see you in the next video.